All right, I want to talk a little bit about one of my favorite books that barely fits on my shelf. It's not an epic collection, it's not an omnibus, but it's this larger sized History of the Marvel Universe by Mark Waid and Javier Rodriguez. This book, if you've seen the Fantastic Four movie, gives you a little bit of hints as to why Galactus is so interested in Franklin Richards. Because in this book, the framing device for this is the end of the universe. By the way, spoilers ahead. The end of the Marvel Universe, billions of years in the future, where at the end of time, you have two people left: Galen, Galactus, and Franklin Richards. And Galactus is dying and kind of losing his mind. And what happens is Franklin Richards starts to recant and tell him all of the stories of the Marvel Universe. And what you have here is on each page, you have a collection of different things, whether it's talking about the sort of cosmic aspects of the ancient Marvel Universe or ancient, storylines that talk about the distant past, early superheroes or alien invasions, all the way through, you have the Avengers 1 million BC over here, all the way through the beginnings of the Marvel Universe on these pages that are just huge, beautifully illustrated. We have Apocalypse over here in ancient Egypt, along with Rama-Tut, or the the different villains throughout time. He Who Remains, talking a little bit about the beginning of the Silver Surfer, some things that happened in the 1800s. And this is only a 6-issue miniseries that is collected in this book, but the pages are so detailed and beautifully drawn. A story just kind of recaps everything very well and talks through all of these different pages. So you get on either a single page or a double page spread, a couple years of the Marvel Universe, walking you through what is happening, what's going on, recapping those things with that kind of framing device, going through the different issues to talk a little bit about how Galactus is sort of dissipating, and his energy is going to Franklin, who's going to cross over into the next iteration of the Marvel Universe. In some of the Defenders books that are out there, not the original Defenders, but sort of the Defenders books that happened a couple years ago, and I think it was the New Ultimates or something along those lines. But they talk a bit about going to how the Marvel Universe will sort of end and then restart, and how many different versions of that have already happened. I think there's something like 6 or 7 different versions of it. There's not things that happen in those previous versions. It's not like the DC universe with Crisis, but Galactus is from the universe before ours, and then what the universe after the Marvel Universe is kind of unknown. So here you have New Mutants turning into X-Force here on the left. You have a page spread about the Infinity Gauntlet on the right, kind of walking through that stuff. Maximum Carnage here with the wedding of Scott and Jean, the Clone Saga, Age of Apocalypse, and all of these different things, Skrull Invasion, Secret Invasion, happening here, all the way up through things like the Superior Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse, the different newer heroes at the time. This was published, I think, around 2010 or somewhere in that time frame, maybe a little bit later, maybe closer to 2015, 2016. Yeah, because we have Krakoa in here, so it was a little bit later than that. And then ultimately, there's some sort of future storylines here, things that have actually already happened. So the wedding of Emma Frost and Tony was at the end of House of X, or Fall of X, the end of the Krakoa storyline. The age of Khonshu, I think that happened in Avengers, The King in Black. That happened. The rise of the Outlaw Generation, not really sure what that is. Intergalactic Half-Breed, that was the crossover with the Avengers in the Fantastic Four, all different things. So just kind of little teases of what's to come, with the idea here being is that this is where Galactus can't kind of hang on anymore and listen. Talking a little bit about the potential futures, but now it's all muddy. What are those futures? What do they happen? Those will be futures to us, past to these characters, but they're kind of alternate timelines as you go through this. And just a love letter to Marvel Comics. Now, the best part about this is not only those issues and the art that goes through, but Mark Waid and it looks like designer Stacy Zucker show their work. So here you have the annotated sort of references of what all of those books are, where they got all of that information, what the original published material looked like. So this is them citing their references. This is as interesting to read through as the original pages and be able to see all that stuff. So I have no idea where you can get this book. I'm not sure if they still sell it in this format. I hope they reprint it if it's out of print. I'm sure you can find the single issues around and not spend a ton of money. You might even be able to find this format. I don't even know where I got this. I think my wife got this for me for Christmas one year. She must have seen it in a store. Maybe it was an Ollie's pickup and it was overstocked there. But regardless of where this came from and where you can get it from today, this is a must-have for every Marvel collector out there.